All right, recording it. Thank you. All right, so let's just start. I'm going to create a new sandbox. All right, so we're going to build uh a simple thing, simple mm, button, okay? Um and we're going to repeat it. So let's do that. So we're going to build a function, okay? And functions, I'm going to call it button. Okay. So what is this? You see, I've capitalized this button. Um, Whenever you build a component, you need to capitalize it, right? So it can differentiate between. So if you look at this div h1, h2, these are actually lowercase. So all the HTML elements are always lowercase, right? Which means if I want to build my own, I need to do it uppercase so it can differentiate. So I can actually use H1 here like this if I want to use it like this, right? And and it would be different from this H1, right? But in this case, we're just going to use button. All right. And then similar to this pattern, you see this function app, and then it returns some HTML, right? So you would have return, and it's just going to return a button. This would be an HTML button, right? So let's see. Um, we'll we'll give some title, click me, and do this. Okay, just gonna format this thing so it looks nice. If I want to use this button anywhere, all I need to do is that's it. I don't need to have closing tag for now, but if I want to do it, that's fine as well, because okay, like this. And I have this button, which is this. Okay, if I change something here, let's say something else, right? It changes. Let's try this out. You must be wondering why can't I just simply use this button here, right? Well, I'm just using this button here, but I can do way more than this, right? This is just a simple button here, but I can add some stuff to it as well, right? So for example, let's say if I want to add button and also a title. Okay, so I'm gonna add button, and I can do two things. I can say uh, H2. I can add some title here. Okay, and then I can give give it a class name. Let's call it my component. Okay. And then I can use this in CSS. Inside here, CSS, I can add, because it's a class, I can say border 1 pixel solid red. Okay. All right. And now I have this. Right. So I created my own, like a little component. I call it a button, but it has more than a button. It has some sort of title and a button inside. All right. Handy. So now, if I want to replicate this, and bingo, I have all these buttons, right? Let's try this out. I'm just going to put the CSS in the chat so that you can copy paste that. You can just focus on the app. Right. So this way, what we can do is we can create a reusable component, right? This reusable component is, let's say if it's repeating, then we can use this to, how do I say this? So we don't have to rebuild this over and over. We just build it once and use it many different times, right? That's the purpose. Any question on this one? So instead of something else, what if I want to change the title for every one of these, right? Let's say if I want to call this one A, this is B, this is C, this is D, and this is F. How do I do that, right? So for that, I can pass argument inside, right? So I can actually say title equal to A. Then I can do title equal to B, title equal to C, title equal to D, and title equal to E. Okay. But still, it does not show up here because we have actually passed this title inside the button. But in order to receive it, um, it actually shows up here as an argument. Okay. Um, and the way to use it is within this curly bracket, you will get something called title like this. Okay. So whatever you pass here, let's say if I pass A here, then this A would show up here. So you can have actually multiple, right? You can have a title. Let's say if I want the button um, label here, right? I can also pass that. But let's just pass a title for now. And this title, remember, if something is not hard coded, which means we are passing in, we can use it like this, right? So I passed A, and this is A or B or C, whatever it is, right? Whatever we passed. And I can just use it directly inside here. So this is A, this is B, this is C, this is D, this is E, right? Similarly, I can also um, do label as well. Okay. Um, let's say label. What is the spelling? Is there a label? Um, let's say for A, it's a label A, click A. Okay. And this one would be, let's say, click B, C, D, and E. This is B, this is C, this is D, and this is E. Okay, so I'm now passing two things, title and a label, which means this one also would get an extra called label, right? And instead of something else, I can just simply use label. But again, anything that is dynamic, you need to use within the curly brackets. And that's it. Now you see, click A, click B. Any questions? So I've created a reusable component that where I can pass this two things that are dynamic, and it creates um, this button automatically. Um, so with the minimum amount of code, I can create this. All right. Let me give you an exercise. So I want you to create another title here. Well, let's call it description. Uh, let's use it H3. And this would be a description. So it should show something like this. Okay. Right now it's the same description everywhere, right? Because I have hard coded it. What I want you to do is I want you to pass it through here. So then um, the description for A would be A description. This would be B description, C description, and D description, right? So make it dynamic, just like how we have title and label. Let me know once you're done. Just put it in a chat that you're done. And then you might want to just put the code of this function in the chat once you're done.
Hi, I'm getting it says syntax error, and I'm trying to figure out where it is in the code. Is it's showing up in the little like problems console thing.
Put it in the chat.
Yeah, hold on. I don't know, I can't copy it, but it says unexpected token expected comma in quotations. And then it says 6 colon 8.
Okay. So somewhere around here. Can you copy a button in the chat? Yeah, so the issue is at the end of that function, you have a div, closing div, and there is a semicolon. You left a semicolon there. That's why. Right here. There should not be a semicolon. Oh, hold on. No, no. I think the semicolon is right. My bad. Return. Which line are you getting the error? Can you just type the line number? Where do you see the red? You should see the red, some sort of red line, right? Okay, 6968. Okay, so assuming uh duh, 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 1, 2, 3. Can you format the code? See if it works. It should be 6 should be somewhere. I think either H2 or H3 here. Right. Mm, Hmm. I don't think it should give you the error.
Oh, formatting worked. uh, yeah.
Okay. 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 Cool. Yeah, but the title you wanna, I think you wanna use the, if you wanna use the title that is passed, you wanna use the within the curly bracket. Yeah. Yeah. So anything that you dynamic, right? Which means it's gonna take what you have from here, right?
So while I was doing that, yeah, it underlined it with red and gave me the sort of console error problem thing. It also had the sort of like light bulb recommended action thing, but that didn't show up consistently. I know it's just sort of like a built-in feature of Code Sandbox, but are there other sort of like useful quick trip, like besides just formatting and sort of like looking for
Line is it?
the line?
Line is it?
Yeah.
Which line is the underline? Red. Do you know which line showing underlined red?
Oh, I was saying just before that's what was going on. So like now when you have it highlighted, then it gives you the little light bulb like idea thing next to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, light bulb is nothing but so light bulb, okay, so light bulb is nothing but um some sort of action, right? So um when I highlight something, it doesn't always show up. But if I highlight like this, okay, you see the light bulb shows up. And if I click on it, um, it can, it gives you option to extract inner function, um, extract function in the module scope, extract constant. So for example, let's say if I just say extract, it actually creates a new function, right? With the title, and it replaces this with this. So it's really nice. You see? Um, let's say if I want to extract this guy, I can do the same thing, right? If I want to extract this guy, I can do the same thing. Okay. So now my button, and it gives kind of a random name, but you can actually change it, right? Obviously for this case, we don't want to do this because this is a very simple example. So we don't want to do this, but that's what, so I can just undo this thing. But that's what it means. Um, Lightbulb lets me basically extract this function. It lets me create a new function based on that. Okay. Um, yeah. So as I said, sometimes formatting issues. If you format it incorrectly, you would see the wiggly lines underneath, and you can fix it by formatting. And if you still see it, then it's a syntax error, right? What if I just enter? Let's say if I entered semicolon here, right? Well, in this case, it's fine. Let's say if I add some weird stuff, right? And I'm getting this, then I get this red wiggly line, right? So I know that there's something going on here, right? So you want to focus on the line that is red and around it. Okay. This one probably not going to give you a really clear error because this is unusual thing that you're trying. But as soon as I fix it, it goes on. So red line means it's an error, which means it's not going to compile my code properly. Yellow lines are warnings, which means it will compile fine. It just annoying warning. It gives you some suggestions, right? For example, if I create a variable inside, right, and I can see this yellow line which says, X is declared but never used, right? So I've declared it, but I haven't used it. So it gives you this wiggly line. Okay, so that's a warning. So if it's a warning, you can easily fix with the formatting. But if it's a red line, then usually you need to do something. You need to take some action based on the error. Okay. Anyway, so for description, right, I want to do the same thing here. So let me format this. And for the description, I want to do the same thing. So I can say description, not to capitalize. And then I can say a description, right? Let me format this. I think that should, no, okay. And then similarly, I can do everywhere. Exactly, I'm passing this inside B, C, D, and E. Okay. And then here, this would be one of the arguments because I passed in here. And then I can, instead of this guy, I can just use within the curly brackets, description, right? So when I save it, I can see the description, UCD, right? Okay. Any questions? I can actually paste this. So those who, you can keep it for your reference. Okay. Um, okay. Next thing we want to learn is, so what if you have something where you want to, um, let's say if you have something in an array, right? And um, you want to use that array to populate something. Okay. So let's do that. So I'm just going to remove all of it from here and this as well. So when I save it, it looks empty. All right. Let's say if I have an array. So let nums equal to, remember how we define arrays in JavaScript, right? So I've defined an array. What I want to do is I want to build um, a repeat. I want to create elements. Let's say just I want to create simple divs with these values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So remember we looked at the map function that works on the map function, right? That works on an array. So for example, if I have this nums, and if I want to double every single value of it, I can do it like this. So I can say, well, and then I can double all the values, right? Right. So mapping actually takes your each element and it can multiply or it can do something with it, right? And it returns a new value. So you'll have an array with the same number of elements, but um, it's kind of transforms it, right?
Does it overwrite the same
No, it
array?
doesn't. It creates a new one.
Okay.
Yeah. So it creates a new one. So like this one would be, let's say new nums, right? So it creates a new array. Okay. Um, so let's say instead of doubling every value, what if I take the value and wrap it with the ace2 tag? Okay. And whatever I get return is instead of numbers, I'm transforming into a component, right? So I can use the same method of map inside here. And the way it's done is anything that is dynamic, you want to use a curly bracket, okay? And then what we want to do is we can say nums dot map, okay? And we get a value. In this case, we also want to use something called index. Okay, we don't want to only use a value. Okay, and now I'll tell you why we want to use index. And see how we are mapping value to 2, right? Instead, all I can just wrap that. I can take the value and I can wrap it with an h1 tag. Okay. And look at that. If I have 100 values, it's going to print it like this. Right. And I can actually add a parent div. Well, I already have a parent div, right? This class name app. So if I look at the class name app right here, so remember, have we looked at the flex? Have we learned the CSS, the flex CSS, flex box? Okay, so by default, this is a block. Maybe we'll take a look at next time. But if I just say display inline block, for example, well, you know what? Display inline or display inline block. Not here, not here, not here. Well, let's just do display flex. Again, I'm gonna teach you teach you guys next time. Okay. So what a display flex does is it puts them in as a not as a block, but as an inline element. So instead of like 1, 2, 3 from top to bottom, you'll get a from left to right. Okay, and you can actually change the flex direction. So you can say flex direction as row or column, right? So if you do column, it looks like this. If you do row, it looks like this. Okay. And then for the element, what if I just take this value, h1? Well, this is kind of interesting because this applies to every h1 element. And I can say border is 1 pixel, solid, red. Okay, and I can add some heading of 1 pixel, let's say 5 pixel. And I can add some margin of 5 pixels, right? So okay. So I can do anything with it. I can actually, instead of H1, I can do button, right? Right. And they are now buttons. So what this does, it takes the numbers, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then for each of these, it wraps it with a, you know, the button tag, and instead of number, now we get a component, right? And that component gets displayed here, which is pretty cool. So with the minimum number of lines, I can actually build this. See, React has only 5 or 6 things you need to learn. One is the use state, right? Which we learned in the first class. The second thing we need to learn is how to add an event like click event, which also we learned in the first class, right? Then this is another thing you need to learn. Anything that repeats, how to do this, right? We also looked at how to create our own components, like we created our own button. That's a fifth thing we can learn. Then there are a couple, 3 or 4 more things. Like there's something called conditional rendering, which we're gonna look at next time. And then there's something called use effect. So there are multiple hooks, other hooks that you need to look at. But that will overall gives you all all the tools, and then you just need to practice it. Obviously, there is way more than that, what we learn in React, but this will give you all the basic things to build the application, right? And then we can go case by case. If you need something else, we can introduce that concept in here, right? But having this knowledge, you can pretty much build anything. Any questions? Let me put this in the chat. Any questions? Let me show you a cool thing. So array has a function. Before we leave, array has a function. So what I'm just gonna take a let nums equal to an empty array, or array from hold on, I have to check what the from this is the one. So instead of creating like 1 to 9 like this, we can create many more. So let's say if I want to create 100 numbers, right? So this basically say I want to create an array with 100 numbers, and whatever the index is, right? Like if every number starts with 0, 1, 2, 3, you just use that index as a value, right? So you have 100 numbers. Actually, if I want to wrap it, I can do this because it's a flex. Flex wrap is wrap. When I do that, I get 100 numbers. I can actually go 1,000. Bingo. The number of line of code is so small compared to how much I'm doing, right? So this allows me to build many numbers in a sequence without, manually creating those arrays, right? So this is the power of React. Obviously, this is some JavaScript, right? Regular JavaScript, but yeah. Let me go paste this in the chat. And I'm going to paste the CSS as well. Any questions? Yeah. Okay, so I think next time what we're gonna learn is, I think we haven't learned the flex, which is this syntax here. So this is actually fun to learn. This will allow you to place any item on the screen gracefully, right? Because this is where most of the developers struggle. They don't know how your element's gonna look like. But with the flex layout, you can place the element with few configuration basically. Okay, if I want to do straight as a column, right, then I get 1,000 elements like this as a table, right? But if I do row, it gives me that row where it just does zigzag. And using wrap, it zigzags basically. If I don't do wrap, it's just gonna go in a one row, but zigzagging helps me do this. Right? So let's look at the flex next time, which is very important. I think this will give you all the tools to build the visual stuff. Okay. Any questions?
Flex is a part of React, but not vanilla JavaScript. Is that right?
Flex is not React. Flex is basically CSS. So you have three components, right? You have HTML, you have CSS, and you have JavaScript, right? React is actually a tool or a framework that sits on the top of JavaScript, right? But you can use your, regular HTML or regular CSS inside. And this is nothing but like regular CSS. I can build a web page using this technology, right? It's not React. What I've done here, this display is actually a cool flex box. Um, is a guide to Flexbox. We're gonna cover next time, but this is pretty cool guide. It's so powerful um, that it lets you build all the different kind of views without, this is the one we were using, the wrap, right? Um, you can do justify where you can center something and all kind of stuff. You can self-align yourself. And this is just a small part of it. Um, it's got so many things that you can do. We're gonna learn this. So a lot of people are struggle with HTML. I think the struggle is because they have a hard time placing things on the page, right? Um, but using Flexbox, it becomes very easy, right? Because you can place element on the screen with few commands, right? And yeah, the CSS trick is actually a pretty good website for learning all the CSS stuff. But 90% of CSS is like layouting of your elements, right? So yeah, any other questions? All right. So I think, yeah, next time we're gonna do some flex, and then I think week after that we'll take a breather, and then we can do some exercises before moving further into React. But I think we only have like 4 or 5 topics left on this one, and then because React is not that huge, right? Whatever fundamentals we learn about JavaScript also applies to React, right? That's why we focused on map functions, error functions, all of these stuff, right? So we can utilize those things in React. In terms of building games, there might be a few things that we need to learn after this, like how to build a random numbers and things like that. So because you might have, let's say if you have a coin toss or things like that, right? You need to learn how to create random numbers and things like that. So we're gonna learn that you know as we go. But yeah, I think if you focus on React um, and just practice a little bit, um, it should. Let me give you one. React documentation. This is something that this guy has React has created. Documentation. Tutorial. Blogs. I think that's somewhere. Oh, right here, beta version. Yeah, I would like you to go play around with this thing. Just like a self-learning. And you can go from the beginning, quick start. I think you can learn. I think there are 5 or 6 main topics, but this will give you really nice, clean information on this one. Like if I want to build a tile like this, you can see how a few lines of code, I can build something like this, right? Some topics we'll cover later on, but I think you can go ahead and look at it. This is what we looked at today, like a list, right? The map function we looked at today, you can learn from here as well. Um, and then, events are there as well. And yep. This is actually created by React folks themselves, so it's pretty cool. All right. Cool. Yeah, you've been using, okay, so Pablo said you'd be using Scrimba. Let's see, what is a Scrimba? Is it a free?
Yeah, it's mostly free. There's
Okay.
like a couple things like the projects. Like they also have like services that like code reviews that they do that you have to pay for, but you can follow along with everything for free. And I haven't paid for anything yet.
Nice, nice. Yeah, so anyone who wants to learn that, you can go ahead and then do this, right? Yeah. Practice is a key, right? Once you um, once you understand the concept and practice a little bit, React is pretty easy to grasp, right? Because it doesn't have a lot of syntax. As long as you have that basic knowledge of JavaScript, some HTML and some CSS, you can easily build any of those stuff, right? So yeah, thank you for showing this. Yeah, I'll check it out. Cool. Yeah, that's it, folks. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll give you some homework based on this, something simple by tonight. And yeah, you'll be due in a couple of weeks. So
Um, I turned in. I just caught up with the JavaScript 1 homework.
okay.
I sent it to you via inbox. I don't know if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
And can I still get caught up on the other assignments too?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
All right.
Thank
So, yeah.
you.
All right. See you guys next time.
Is it so we're gonna be heading into React now?
Sorry, say it again.
So what we're heading into now is React mostly.
Yeah. So if there's any new JavaScript, there might be some JavaScript concept that we might learn, right? But I think the basic, I covered the basic JavaScript, which lets you build a React application.
Mhm.
I'll tell you the truth. Most of the JavaScript that you learn outside, it's no longer useful. For example, if you want to do like a DOM manipulation and things like that, you never do that in your like day-to-day life, at work, right? So it just best to avoid learning those stuff, right? I would rather focus on learning, concept, core concept of JavaScript, and then just move to React, right? And then there are some other concept that you might like defining a random number, um, some array manipulation and things like that, right? That we can learn as we go along.
Nice, that makes sense. I forgot. Is there office hours for this class?
Yeah, so let me know. I mean, as I said, usually what happens, I set up an office and nobody shows up. And this is a very small class. So what you can do is if you need to connect with me, are you on the Discord?
Yeah.
Okay. Just ping me on the Discord, right? And I can set up, we can set up a quick Zoom meeting.
Actually, can you tell me the name? Because I want to make sure that I'm in the right Discord because I know that there were different versions.
Okay, hold on.
So I'm in BCC:168: spring 23. Yeah, that one.
Okay, let's see.
Okay, I'm in there.
Hold on.
Cool. So I should just at you or something and
Hold on. This is 163. Okay, homework help. Session planning off topic. Okay, who's okay, hold on. Let me just make sure that this is the right one. Okay, let me hold on. I want to make sure that we have. So yeah, this is the one. Yeah.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because I've been I'm gearing up for like a hackathon in a couple weeks. There's one at Laney.
Okay.
And I was actually learning React on my own before this class.
Okay.
So I was trying to kind of getting I might need some extra help, like you know, like with APIs or something, or if I have to use something like that. If that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. What day do you usually prefer?
I usually prefer Thursday or Friday because I work Monday through Wednesday.
Thursday or Friday. Okay. Yeah, Friday would be the best day for me as
Okay.
well. So yeah, send a message on the channel, and then yeah, it doesn't matter timing wise on a Friday. I'm mostly free in the afternoon and evenings. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. So if I need help, I'll shoot you a message or something.
Okay, sounds good. Cool.
All right. Thank you.
See you again.